Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, your go-to source for in-depth analysis and up-to-date coverage of the world's most pressing news stories. I'm your host, Barbara, and we're glad you're joining us today. As we dive into the day's top headlines, let's start with a story that's been making waves globally. Japan. This is Falnoegain. South Korea and China have come together to strengthen trade ties amidst looming U.S. tariffs. This move is seen as a significant step towards fostering economic cooperation among these Asian nations. According to reports, the three countries are seeking to bolster their economic relationships and reduce their dependence on the United States. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, experts from around the world have gathered for a two-day meeting to discuss proposals for the upcoming Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty Review Conference. The International Group of Eminent Persons for a World Without Nuclear Weapons is chaired by Japan's Takashi Shiraishi and aims to compile a set of recommendations that will help realize a world without nuclear weapons. In other news, Israel has been witnessing anti-Hamas protests in Gaza, with hundreds of people taking to the streets to call for an end to the war and the removal of Hamas from power. These demonstrations are seen as a significant development in the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. Closer to home, Japan's Constitutional Democratic Party has been urged to continue talks over corporate donations. The party's leader, Takashi Shiraishi, has expressed his commitment to finding a solution that works for all parties involved. And finally, in a story that highlights the importance of disaster preparedness, a volcano in southwestern Japan has had its alert level raised due to increased seismic activity. Authorities are closely monitoring the situation and advising residents to be prepared for any potential eruptions. We'll continue to follow these stories and bring you updates as more information becomes available. We strive to provide fair and balanced reporting, giving you the facts without bias or agenda. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're glad you're still with us as we dive into the latest developments from around the world. In this segment, we're focusing on a significant diplomatic move by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is set to visit Hungary despite an arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court. The ICC warrant, which was announced in November, accuses Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant of war crimes in connection with the conflict in Gaza. However, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán has made it clear that the warrant will not be observed during Netanyahu's visit, sparking a debate about international cooperation and the rule of law. It's worth noting that all European Union member states, including Hungary, are required to enforce ICC warrants as part of their membership obligations. However, Orbán's government has often been at odds with the EU over issues related to democratic standards and human rights. Netanyahu's visit to Hungary is seen as a significant test of the country's commitment to upholding international law, as well as its relationship with the European Union. The Israeli Prime Minister has denied any wrongdoing and described the allegations against him as false and absurd. As we consider this complex situation, it's essential to remember that the ICC plays a crucial role in promoting accountability and justice globally. At the same time, diplomatic relationships between nations are multifaceted and often involve delicate balancing acts. We'll continue to monitor this story and provide updates as more information becomes available. In the meantime, we invite our listeners to share their thoughts on the implications of Netanyahu's visit to Hungary and the broader context of international cooperation and justice. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're closing out today's show with a look at the devastating earthquake that has struck Myanmar and neighboring Thailand. The disaster has left a trail of destruction, claiming lives and leaving many more injured or missing. As we've been following this story, Reports indicate that the earthquake's epicenter was near Mandalay, Myanmar's second-largest city, with a population of 1.5 million people. The death toll in Myanmar has risen to over 1,600, while in Thailand it stands at 17. The numbers are staggering, and our thoughts go out to all those affected by this tragedy. The international community has come together to provide aid and support to the affected regions. China has sent rescue personnel, medical supplies, and equipment, including generators, earthquake detectors, and drones, with a pledge of around $13.8 million in emergency aid. Hong Kong has dispatched search and rescue teams, along with 9 tons of equipment, and has allocated HK $30 million from its disaster relief fund to help Myanmar victims. Other countries, including India, Russia, Malaysia, South Korea, and New Zealand, have also pledged support, with some sending field hospitals, medical teams, and rescue personnel. The European Commission has released €2.5 million in initial emergency assistance, while the United States has promised to help with the response. Aid agencies, such as the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, have mobilized to provide life-saving assistance, allocating funds and resources to support relief efforts. However, despite these efforts, hospitals are struggling to cope with the influx of injured people, and there is a severe shortage of medical supplies. As we conclude our coverage of this story, it's essential to acknowledge the complexity of disaster response and the challenges faced by affected communities. While the outpouring of international support is heartening, it's crucial that we continue to monitor the situation and ensure that aid reaches those who need it most. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay engaged.